Now, another situation which we did not think of previously, of course, when n is equal to 2, L can be 0 and 1. So we have discussed about L is equal to 0 case. Okay, we did not discuss L is equal to 1. Right? When L is equal to 1, then what are the possible values we can assign? The possible values for M we can assign are basically 0, plus or minus 1. 0, 1, and minus 1. So these are three different possible states that we can think of, right? Accordingly, three different wave functions that we will get it, and each gives you one atomic orbital, because these are the unique solutions, and each solution will satisfy the time independent Schrodinger wave equation of hydrogen atom wave function, right? Now, again, straightforward, I just wanted to give what is the radial function. Okay, so this particular, I think I will take up this particular thing. This particular thing is nothing but psi 210. Psi 210. Psi 210 is a product of radial function psi 21 of r and y10 theta of phi. Okay, this is the spherical harmonics and this is the radial function. So the radial function is given by this. Okay, straight away I have given this, and it is r by a naught multiplied by e to the power minus r by 2 a naught. Okay, and here please remember that I think this will not be there. Yeah. So rho is equal to 2r by n a naught. So when you substitute n is equal to 2, 2 to cancel out r by a naught. Okay, r by a naught, it will be there. Now this function, how it behaves. Now this function, how it behaves, that we will come to that later. But let me give you what is the spherical harmonics. The spherical harmonics, if you try to evaluate, this is just a cos theta. Okay, of course there is some kind of constant, normalization constant, and the normalization constant multiplied by cos theta. Okay, the spherical harmonics is basically cos theta. And overall, the wave function will have a radial part. That radial part is exactly this, and the angular part. Angular part is basically cos theta. Okay. Now, I just wanted to plot what the radial plot, how it looks like. Okay. How can we plot this? Again, the same thing. So just use your physical intuition how to plot a graph. So the radial function r21 is basically directly proportional to r over a naught multiplied by e to the power minus r by 2 a naught. Okay, how this function behaves? Well, suppose if r is equal to 0. If r is equal to 0, the total radial function and in fact total wave function becomes 0, right? So at 0, at origin, it is 0. Okay, so that is something that you can start with it. Unlike the previous cases, they are maximum. They are maximum, right? At origin, they are maximum, the previous 1s and 2s, but then this 2p is not maximum at the origin. It is in fact 0 because of the r by a naught term. Okay, now we know that this is a linear function, how it behaves, right? This is a exponential function, how it behaves. So the combination is something that we have to think of, and it initially increases because of this linear function, and then decreases. This decreases because of this exponential function. So there is nothing much we can discuss over here. And then similarly, you can continue and then discussing about the probability distribution function. For that, you have to just multiply, you have to square of it and then multiply the volume element. So essentially this becomes this. Okay, so the probability, again, it will have a linear function multiplied by an exponential function, right? Now, what is interesting is that in this particular case, the cos function actually came from the spherical harmonics of this. Okay. Now let us look at how this plot look like, the angular function or the spherical harmonics function, how it look like. So whether we can plot or not. Well, we can easily plot it. We know that the theta, cos theta, the spherical harmonics of 2p orbital, which you are discussing, y10 of theta comma phi, right? It has contain, but then the function contain only cos theta. There is no phi part. Okay, only cos theta. the cos theta. Now theta value, what are the possible values we can assign for theta? The possible values for theta are basically 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and then 90, 0 to pi. Okay, 0 to pi. Please remember and recall our discussion of polar coordinate system, and the theta angle is defined with respect to positive z-axis. Okay, it can vary from 0 to pi, that is 180 degree. So for different values for pi, you can basically substitute the cost function and evaluate and make a table, and then later you plot the graph. That is what I'm going to do it. So the angular part of 2p orbital which we are discussing, of course we have not named it, we will name this very soon. For the time being, what I did was, so I have theta value can vary from 0 to 180, so those values are simply calculated. Cos 0 is 1, okay, and cos 90 is 0, and cos 180 it will be -1, and in between these values I have just evaluated. Of course, anyway, if you remember simple basic trigonometry, you can just immediately calculate these things. Well, now after calculating this, this is our theta is our x basically. So how to plot these things? Okay, we are very much familiar with plotting graphs plotting graphs on a normal graph sheet, right? I think most of you would have done it as a part of your practical courses, right? So everybody knows how to use the graph sheet. But then this is something that a special graph sheet, what we call it as a polar graph. This is called a polar graph. What you see the background on the slide, this is called a polar graph. Polar graph is something that one should use to plot the angular functions. Okay, angular function. You cannot use the simple graph sheet where you have a linear scale. So linearly x-axis, y-axis, it is basically changing, and then everything is basically partitioned, equal partitioned are there. So that we are denoting x with respect to x, how y is changing or the function is changing, that we are trying to visualize after plotting the graph. But here what we have is the theta. So how do you plot theta? You can't plot theta on a linear scale. So that won't give you any proper visualization. So what is required is that you need angles. Since theta is an angle and you need an angle. So this particular graph, as you can see here, this is the center. This is the center. The center is 0, right? So it is basically 360 angle. Okay, with respect to this, okay, let's say you start from anywhere, and then it is basically keep on, the angle is increased. Okay, this direction to this direction, the angle is increased, and then 360. So this is the way it is increased. Of course, you can have your own way of defining the angle. No, sir, I will vary angle from 0, 15, like this. I will go this clockwise. Well, you can do this, no problem, absolutely no problem. If you want to start from here, you can do that, absolutely no problem. So angle is something that you can define based on your wish, and then accordingly you can plot this graph. Now what I'm going to do is something different. Okay, so you forget about these angles what are labeled. As you can see in my table, what is there? The first angle is 0, and second angle is 15, and third angle is 30, and then 45, right? So and so on. So every angle I have a point at every 15 degrees angle. Now I'm going to basically plot those things. Now how do I do that? Please remember always how theta is defined. How theta was actually defined is something like, theta is the angle which the point it makes with respect to, okay, when you join the origin with the point, it is basically a line, and that particular line, what is the angle that it makes with respect to positive z-axis? Positive z-axis. So according to our coordinate system, what we defined was, this is our z-axis. This is our z-axis, this is our x-axis, and the other direction is y-axis. That's how we have defined. So please remember that. Now what I'm saying, that you start from, this is, suppose if the point is exactly pointing along the z-axis, then what is the angle? Theta. Theta is basically 0. And as if your point is, somewhere here or somewhere here, so you are basically moving. If you are moving away this way, the theta is increasing, and if you are moving here, right, theta is further increasing and it reaches a 180. So this is how the theta degree, theta is basically defined, right? So what I do is that this I take it as a 0, and then this I take it as a 90. This I take it as a 90 degrees, and this is my 180. That's how I am going to do that. Okay, forget about what is written here. Okay, forget about what is written here. Now, how to plot these things? How to plot these things? Well, you can see different circles. You can see different circles around the center, around the nucleus, right? So this is the first circle, and this is the another circle, and this is another circle, right? Another circle. So another circle. You have different circles. So each circle, you can see that each circle, okay, has a kind of a unified, it is the distance between the each two subsequent circles is remain the same. The distance between the two adjacent circle is basically same. Okay, you can see the distance between here and then here. Similarly, you can see the distance. So all these things are equipartitions on the circle. Okay, so the distance between these two circles, any two circles which are adjacent, basically remain the same. So you can just correlate with your graph sheet. Graph sheet also we have 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. So you have segments, different segment, and each segment is further bifurcated like millimeter type of thing. So accordingly, we have a graph sheet. This direction, then X direction, Y direction, we have the same thing. But here what we have is angle. So angle, actually it is plotted. Okay, you can see different lines. Different lines indicate the angle. Different line indicate the angle, and the distance between any two circles. The distance between any two circles is the unit that you have to consider while plotting. Okay, now you can see here that the first is 0. When 0 means along the z-axis. Along the z-axis, I have the unit of 1. How do I plot 1? So that is your wish. Okay, that is your wish. How many circle you wanted to take it as a 1 unit? That is your wish. For example, I have counted 10 circle. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 10 circles. So I am taking this as my 1 unit. Okay, and accordingly, so the distance between the origin and this particular point, this blue circle, you have to consider as a 1 unit, and accordingly other distances will change it. Accordingly, the other distances will change it. Now you may ask the question, sir, what about these negative signs? So when you are plotting the polar graph, you should not worry about the sign of the value. You just only consider the magnitude. Just consider the magnitude, and sign is something that we have to assign after plotting the graph. You have to assign after plotting the graph. So you need not to really worry about negative signs in the value. When you calculate the cost function, or maybe another polar graph I am going to demonstrate, even that case also we will see some negative value. These negative value don't worry about. Simply you just that magnitude, consider the magnitude, and you just mark it along the particular axis. Along the particular axis. So these are different axes. So for example, this one, okay, this is a 5 degree. If I am correct, this is a 5 degree. You can see here, as per the notation of this graph, this is 0, this is 5, 10, 15. Okay, 20, 25, 30, likewise. So if you count this way, this is basically 0, and this is 5, and then 10, 15. So this thicker line indicates 15. This is 30, this is 45, 60, and then 75, and then this is 90. Okay, so likewise it is increasing. Now what I'm going to do is this. Okay, I am going to look at concentrate at a particular axis of 15 degree or 30 degree or 45 degree, and then I'm going to mark that value of the cost function. So in this particular case, it is 1. 0, it is 1. 1 unit means 10 circles I have taken as 1 unit, so I marked it already. Now the next point is 15. So next point 15 means that you have to consider this axis. On this axis, you have to mark the point where at 0.966. Okay, I am marking that. You can see that. So at 0.966, that is the point. Okay, and then what about 30? At 30, I have a value of 0.85. Okay, 0.85 is that my another one. So this is my point. This is my 30. This particular axis is my 30 degree axis, and this is my 45 next one. Okay, and that is my 60 degree angle, and the other one is my 75 degree, and when cos 90 is exactly at the nucleus origin, at the origin, right? Now you can continue this discussion, and the next one is like 105. At 105 minus 2 point minus 0.258. Okay, it is, you can just like take it as a 0.26 magnitude only you consider, forget about the negative sign, and then you mark it and proceed further. And at 120 we have 0.5, at 135 we have 0.7, and at 165 we have 0.966. At 180 we have minus 1. At 180 it is minus 1, right? So 1 you can consider, so negative sign you can ignore it. Now what you see is that you have the points, and these points are to be connected with each other. Now let me also point out that the theta is defined with the positive z-axis. Okay, why you are only specific on the right hand side? The similar exercise you can also do with regard to the other side. This is also positive axis. The theta can also vary this way, right? Now if you do that, we will get points like this. If you do that, you will get the points like this, and finally you join all the points. So when you join all the points, you will get a nice a spherical lobe on the above the x-axis, and another spherical lobe on below the x-axis. So two different lobes you can find it. And now what you can do, I talked to you, I already mentioned that this region, the function is positive. As you can see here, when you are from 0, this is our 0, 0 to 90, right? This is positive, but then this is negative. So the negative sign, you can put it here. I hope that you understood how the particular shape, what you have learned at previous classes, has arrived. Do you appreciate this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the shape what you have learned, the p orbital is a double dumbbell shape. Okay, it is essentially because of the angular part of the total wave function of the hydrogen atom. The angular part we refer to as the spherical harmonics. In the case of 2p orbital, 2p orbitals, we have 3 orbitals, and one of the orbital is drawn here, so that the angular part or the spherical harmonics is cos theta. That cos theta, if you try to plot it by changing different values for different values of theta value, how the cos theta is varying, you can just make a table and then you just plot it. Okay, how to plot it? You cannot use the linear graph. Okay, what you do it in a practical class, you have to use a polar graph, and the polar graph will have a different axis. Each axis will indicates angle. Okay, and different circles. Each circle actually is give you some magnitude of value. So you can assign the value as you wish it, right? So for example, this is something that we exactly do it. For example, in the linear graph also, when you are plotting how with the distance something is varying. So we can take it 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter. Otherwise, if it is kilometer also, we can take it for the same unit, right? Okay, watch each unit, 1 centimeter unit, you can take it as a 1 kilometer also. That all it is up to you, right? So exactly the same thing happens here. You can assign the magnitude as you wish, and then accordingly you can proceed. So since my graph has has a limited circles, so I have only taken 10 circles. Of course, there are cases where you take it a two circle has 1.1, right? The same thing happens here also, and you can plot that way. And of course, the other two orbitals, in fact, what I have showed is the 2p z orbital. What I showed is the 2p z orbitals. Why? Because the two lobes are pointing along the z axis, therefore it is said to be 2p z orbital. So in the examination also, I can ask you a question that, plot the spherical harmonics of the so and so function. Sometimes I may give the function, sometimes I may not give the function, but I will give the orbital. Vice versa, it can be asked. I'll give the 2p z orbital, or I may ask you 2p y orbital. So you have to remember the functions, or else sometimes I may not I will not give the function, but then simply I will give orbital. So orbital, if I give orbital, you should be able to draw it, or if I give a function, you should be able to draw it. Both we should be ready for that. And the next thing is that I'm not going to describe how to plot 2px and 2py, because you know that it is just the small variation, that these particular orbitals will be pointing along the respective axes. Okay, but what are those functions? These functions, well, you can write it. The wave function in the case of this one is this psi 211 r theta 1, okay, which is equal to radial function psi 21, sorry, r21 of r, and then y11 theta 5. So this is the spherical harmonics. Please remember, when you talk about the 2p, then each case the radial function remain the same. What is varying is basically the spherical harmonics. What is varying is spherical harmonics. So R21, in the case of this orbital, also the same. Previous case also same. What is difference is this. Spherical harmonics is different. So the y11 function is given already here. That 3 by square root of 3 by 8 pi sine theta e to the power I theta. Okay. And the other one is y1 minus 1 is given by 3, same thing, square root of 3 by 8 pi sine theta e to the power minus I theta. Okay, that is the imaginary function. And as you realize that these two functions are imaginary and very difficult to plot and visualize the orbitals. Therefore, what we do that we will go for the real function. The real functions of 2px and 2py are given here. Then y11 is given by square root of 3 by 4 pi sine theta cos phi. Similarly, the other one y1 minus 1 theta phi is equal to square root of 3 by 4 pi sine theta sine phi. So these are the real functions, and easy to plot and easy to visualize. Of course, I'm not going to do that, but you can take it as an example or exercise, do it. Of course, the polar graph I will send by email or WhatsApp, the polar graph, or you can actually Google it, you will find it. So I suggest all of you, you can take a printout of a couple of polar graphs and practice these things. Okay, the sine theta cos phi. We know how the values of sine theta cos phi values actually changes. Okay, you know how these functions are changes, right? And theta changes from 0 to pi, and phi changes from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so these values you can calculate, like you can put theta and phi, you make a first a table, okay, theta and phi, how these values are making. At least you should have at least some 15 to 20 points you can choose. Now you just take the multiplication, calculate sin theta and calculate cos theta, and then take the product, and that product you try to plot it. Okay, that product you try to plot it. Of course, you need not to do this, but we can guess it also. How we can guess it? Well, we can guess this way. So when z is equal to r cos theta, according to our polar coordinate definition, z is equal to the Cartesian coordinate. Z is given by r cos theta. In other words, z by r is equal to cos theta. So when you try to plot the cos theta function, it is pointed along the z-axis, right? Similarly, here you notice here sin theta cos phi is basically the x coordinate, right? Sin theta cos phi is the x coordinate, right? So x is given by Cartesian coordinate x is equal to r sin theta cos phi, which is nothing but x by r is equal to sin theta cos phi. So definitely when you plot it, so it will point along the x-axis because it has x component. Similarly, this is y. Please note down this is y. Y is given by r sin theta sin phi, which implies that y by r is equal to sin theta sin phi. So when you try to plot it, it will point along the y-axis. Okay. So you can take these things as an exercise. Of course, these are something you might have seen in your previous classes, how these look like. So I'm not going to do that because we can't cover everything. The one of the orbital which we would like to see today is basically the 3d z square orbital. That is the d orbital we will see. But before that, let us look at when n is equal to 3, what are the possibilities? When n is equal to 3, as you can see on the slide, there are three possible values that we can assign for L. L can be 2, L can be 1, L can be 0. On what basis? Because we have got a relation between n and L. N minus 1 must be greater than or equal to L, right? That is one relation. Now, having that particular relation, then according to each L value, you can actually have different values of M value, corresponding M values. Okay, and when L is equal to 0, that we have already seen, if I'm correct. Am I right or wrong? Did we see L is equal to 0 case? Nobody is talking.
So not with n equal to 3.
Oh,
Earlier.
N is equal to 3, nothing we have discussed then.
No.
Okay. Okay, so when n is equal to 3, L can be 0, L can be 1, L can be 2. So when L is equal to 0, then obviously we will have this situation. This is the situation. What is that? When L is 0, obviously M will be 0. So that particular orbital, what we call it as a 3s atomic orbital, again it will have two parts. One is the radial part, that is R30 of R, and spherical harmonics, which is the product of the theta of theta and also phi of phi, right? So that is basically nothing but 1 over square root of 4 pi. So there is nothing we can discuss. Wherever we come across L is equal to 0, obviously M will be 0. Such a situation, we will have a spherical harmonics of y00. Okay, that will be actually nothing but 1 over, it is just a constant 1 over square root of 4 pi. Okay, and R30 of R is a radial function, and it can be predicted, and all these radial functions are available. If you please look into the standard textbook Macquarie, you will get all those things, and then you can predict the shape. All those things are possible. Okay. I think I'm not going to do those things, but I will see some other aspect. Then the other possibility, when L is equal to L can be 1. When L is equal to 1, then M can be 0, or M can be 1, or M can be minus 1. So therefore, we will have 3p orbitals. Okay, 3p orbitals. So when L is equal to 1, obviously M can be 0 or M can be plus or minus 1. So we will have 3p orbitals, and 3p orbital shape we already discussed. They will not be so different than the 2p orbital what we have discussed. Okay, they will be exactly same. Why? Because when L is equal to 1, M can be 0. In that situation, that 2p z orbital we have discussed. So 2p z orbital is spherical harmonics of the 2p z is exactly same as the spherical harmonics of the 3p z. Why? Because that the L and M values are basically identically same. So as long as that we have that condition that L is equal to 1 and M is equal to 0, then the spherical harmonics is just the cos theta. The cos theta function, you can also see here on the slide, it is there. So the cos theta, how to plot it, we already learned it. So there is nothing much you can actually get from this particular discussion where L is equal to 1. It is just the p orbital. So what is interesting and what I would like to discuss is something that the L is equal to 2. So before that, let me give you when L is equal to 1, the radial function is this. Okay, when L is equal to 1, then its radial function is given by this function. Okay, and of course the total wave function psi 3 1 0, which is nothing but basically a 3p orbital. So this is the 3p orbital, especially 3p z, I can say 3p z orbital total wave function is given here. Now suppose if 3 1 1, it's a spherical harmonic, just it will change it. Okay, and if it is a 3 1 minus 1, then again its spherical harmonics is going to change. That's the only part it will change when you talk about L is equal to 1, right? So well, I think the radial function of a 3p orbital is plotted here, so you can easily guess the nature of the function. So nothing new in this. So just look at, forget about the this is a constant. So forget about the constant. Look at only the function rho or r. I think the rho is directly proportional to r. Okay, 2r by NA naught. So in the case of n is equal to 3, then it will be 2r by 3a naught. 2r by 3a naught. So that is the value that one has to substitute when rho is equal to, when n is equal to 3, rho is equal to 2r by 3a naught. This is the value one has to substitute whenever we come across a rho. Okay, and its function basically we can predict it. How we can predict? By looking at the function. Well, suppose rho is equal to 0, that means r is equal to 0. Suppose if you are at the origin, what will happen? If you substitute r is equal to 0, then obviously the total function, it becomes 0, right? So the starting point of the radial function would be origin. What about the other thing? Again, you remember the other orbital which we discussed. So this is a linear function. This is said to be a linear function, and 6 minus rho multiplied by rho is a linear function. So it is basically you are subtracting from 6 from a quantity of a rho value, and but then that is basically multiplied with a rho value. So essentially it keep on increases. Okay, initially it will increases, but then later on the value of the rho, as the value of the rho or the r value increases, it decreases because of the exponential function. Okay, because of the exponential function. So you will see that it will keep on increase and then it will decrease. In fact, it will go to a negative value. It becomes 0 also. Why? Because that when rho is equal to 6, 6 minus 6, it becomes 0. So at a value of rho is equal to 6, that is when 2r by 3a naught is equal to 6, that means from r is equal to essentially 3 times 6 by basically 18 by 2, that is 9 a naught. So that is the value at which actually the value of the radial function, it becomes 0. That means it is a node, and then it continues in the negative direction. Why? Because beyond 6, then this becomes negative, because if this is negative, if this is increasing further beyond 6, then there is a negative sign. So the sign of the function will increase negatively, and then later on it will decreases. So that is the nature. And the square function, that is nothing but the radial probability distribution function, can be easily guessed. So just to take the square of the radial function, that gives you this one. So when you take the square of any function, whether it is a positive function or the negative function, it becomes positive. Therefore, so the two positive peaks that we can guess for this particular radial probability distribution curve. Okay, and similarly, the density plots one can easily guess based on the this radial function. Density function is nothing but the combined plot of a radial function as well as the spherical harmonics function. So here, this diagram, you can see here, wherever you see a bright one, that is the place at which the wave function is maximum, and white intensity, it gives you basically the wave function is maximum. The dark indicates the wave function is minimum. Okay, you can say it is like a node. Okay, so this is the node at which is nothing but rho is equal to 6. So the dark region, what you see here, a sphere of rho is equal to rho is equal to 6, essentially is this, and this is nothing but the node at which the total wave function becomes 0. Okay, and then when the other third possibility is something that I just wanted to elaborate in detail, because that is of more interesting to us. When L is equal to 2, then corresponding m values can be expected or guessed based on the other condition. What is the condition? That is, what is the condition? N minus 1 greater than is equal to L. The other one is
L greater than equal to M.
correct. So L greater than or equal to modulus of M. That means essentially M can take values from plus or minus, in between L plus L and then minus L. So in between those values, it can take it. So accordingly, we can write it. So whenever you have L is equal to 2, the M value can start from 2 itself, and it can go up to minus 2. 2, 1, 0, minus 1, and 2. Oh, okay. Accordingly, we can have different orbitals. Accordingly, we can have different orbitals. Okay, and all these orbitals will have a radial function, same radial function. But what is different in all these things is the spherical harmonics. The spherical harmonics part is different for different d orbital. Okay, that is why we see different shapes. Why they are having different shape is essentially because the radial function, actually you can see R32 of R. That is the radial function. It is same for all the d orbitals. But in spherical harmonics, we just look at y22. If L is equal to 2, M is equal to 2, y22. If L is equal to 2, M is equal to 1, y21. So y20, y minus 1, y minus 2, y2 minus 2. So the spherical harmonics function of each orbital is different, and they don't actually, they are not matching with any of the spherical harmonics of the 5. Okay, so that is why we see different appearance in the three-dimensional space. And before going to discuss about the 3D orbitals, I just wanted to give the radial function. The radial function of a 3D orbital is basically rho square multiplied by e to the power minus rho by 2. Rho square multiplied by e to the power minus rho by 2. Well, if anybody is interested how this radial function look like, well, you can easily guess this. When rho is equal to 0, the function will be 0. When rho is increasing, the function increases, and then it decreases, and it becomes like this. Okay, you can actually plot R versus R32. You can plot it, so it is essentially of that kind. So easily you can draw it, because initial growth is because of the linear function, and the decrease, this part is because of the exponential function. Okay, what is more interesting for us is basically is this part y22. I think I have made a mistake. Well, no problem. I can manage it. This is essentially y20, not y32. I think while copying I made a mistake. So this quantity is essentially y20 of theta and phi. Okay, when L is equal to 2, m can vary from 2 to minus 2. Okay, so in between you will get m can be 0. Okay, when L is equal to 1, L is equal to 2, and m is equal to 0. That is the case that I just wanted to discuss. That is, this is the spherical harmonics 3 cos square uh, theta, 3 cos square theta minus 1 is the spherical harmonics of this particular atomic orbital. Okay, so this is essentially nothing but a 3dz square orbital. So this is something that we will try to plot it and see. Okay, again, to plot any spherical wave function, we need essentially the polar graph. I'm not sure that how many of you are really downloaded the spherical harmonics. So I once again repeat the same thing. Please download the spherical harmonics graph of this kind. You just go Google it, polar graph. With the keyword of a polar graph in the Google, you will get this type of mini graphs. Okay, you can pick up this type of graph because it is having some 15 degrees, 5 degrees variation. All the 360 degrees basically equally partitioned, and then we have the axis at every 5 degrees, so it is nice. Of course, you can have a 10-degree polar graph and then 1-degree polar graph. So as the number of as the degree increases, then you will have less axes, and as the degree decreases, you will have more axes. So you can precisely locate each and every angle. So that depends upon how you take it. So you can just take it a 5-degree angle. That is good enough for plotting this type of graph, and you try to plot the spherical harmonics of different orbitals. So I have given you an exercise of 2p x and then 2p y spherical harmonics is given to you. So just try to calculate a small table, and then we know the theta value basically changes from 0 to 180, and phi value basically changes from 0 to 360 degrees. So just calculate, make a small table, and then later on you start plotting it. So in the case of 3dz square, the spherical harmonics is just the 3 cross square theta minus 1. Of course, the spherical harmonics contain a constant, or the normalization constant is there, that we don't worry about it. Only we worry about for the shape, we only worry about the function, theta function. So the theta function is this 3 cos square theta minus 1. So how do we plot it? Again, the same. We know how the theta is varying. So theta can take a minimum value of 0 and maximum value of 180. So from 0 to 180, you can have different points. Just make a table of this kind. So I have made a small table. So I am a bit lazy. I have only taken 50 degrees, every 15 degrees I am just pointing it. But if you can try for every 10 degree, you can just calculate a point and then try to mark it, and then later on you join all the points, and then you will appreciate the shape of the polar graph, or the shape of the orbital in general. Okay, now how do we do that? So in the case of this 3dz square, when theta is 0, then its value is going to be 2. Why? Because cos square theta, so cos 0 is what? Cos 0 is a 1. Okay, 3 minus, so basically this becomes 1. 3 minus 1, that is 2. So its value is 2. And cos 15 and cos 30, okay, and 45 at cos 54.7, as at cos 60, cos 75. Okay, so all these values I have just evaluated. Now our job is to locate this along a particular axis. What is that axis? Axes are basically represent the angle. Okay, start from a starting point to the ending point, that is around this thing. I think in this case it is not 360, but then the theta angle is defined with respect to the positive z-axis. It is varying. It is the angle. So along a particular angle, you just try to locate the magnitude of that one. So forget about the sign of the value what you calculated. Only you just concerned about the magnitude and then try to locate that point. So the first point let us locate, that is at 2. So 2 magnitude you have to put it. So how to keep 2 magnitude? It is again it depends upon you. So how many circles? Okay, each circle you can take it as a 1 unit. Okay, each circle you can take as a 1 unit. So when you take 10 circles, then the 10 circle you can take it as a 1 unit. So it is better in this type of graph. It is better to take to have a bigger shape of the orbital. So it is always better you try to take a bigger scale. So the 10 circles you can take it as a 1. That means 1 circle is. So if you want to locate 10 circles, you can take it like a 2. Okay. So every circle will have the value of 0.2, isn't it? Okay, so let us locate this particular thing. So basically 10 into, 10 circles I am taking as a 2. Okay, this is 2. So 5 circle will be 1. Okay, 5 circle will be 1. And then 1 circle will be how much? 0.2. Okay, so that is how that I am going to do it. This is basically 2. This is 10 circle. You can count it. This is 10 circle. So this side also you can count it. This is the circle. So this will be my 10 circle. So this length I am considering as a 2 unit. Now next point is at the 15. Please remember that the theta is defined to be defined from the positive z-axis. Okay, so you always start from the z-axis. Okay, z-axis as per our notation or convention. So we have taken this as a z-axis. Okay, this is a positive z and this is a negative z. Okay, and this is our x, and y is pointing towards you or towards us. Okay, now theta you can start from 1, 0, it is 2, and then 15. So at 15 I have a point, and that is almost 1.8. Okay, so you can just locate it is 1.8. So every circle is a 0.2. So this is actually is the next point. So this is the 15-degree angle. This is 30, and this is 45. This is 60, and this is 75. Okay, and this is 90. So that's how the points are going on. Just take the third value, that is 30. At 30, what is the value? It is 1.25. So 1.25 just above this one. I have just pointed it. Then next is 0.5. Where is 0.5? This is 0.4 and this is 0.5. So this will be somewhere here. The next one is where it will be. The next one will be where it is. So next one is, actually I have not discussed about 54.7. Actually, if you calculate, there is a one point at which the wave function actually becomes 0. Where is that? That angle is 54.7. You can just evaluate. I have done it already. So the wave function becomes 0. So you can see that the wave function start from z-axis and then 15 angle, 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees is 0.5, and then it will go to 0 actually. So how do I know that? Why? Because I have just calculated the other value. So I have initially calculated 60. So when it is 60, then it is going to a negative. When it's 60, it is going to a negative value. So that means this is a positive value. So in between, the function should be 0, right? Somewhere at a particular angle, the function is getting basically the function is vanishing. So what is that angle? That angle has to be marked it. Okay, so that angle is nothing but 54.7. In fact, this is called a magic angle. So then at 60 you have to mark it. Now that 60 means this is the angle. So this is the angle. So at 60 this point is correct. It is 0.25. Okay, this point is somewhere, it should be here. Okay, this is the point. Okay, the next one is 75. At 75, okay, at 75 it is what? It is 0.8, I would say. 0.8 is how much? This is the 75, my 75 degrees. So along this axis, we have to mark 0.8. We know this is 0.2, this is 0.4, this is 0.6, this is 0.8. So this is somewhere that you have to mark it. Okay, and then along the 90 degree, that means this angle, this axis, we have to mark the other point, that is 1. Okay, 1 is somewhere, this is 0.8 means this will be 1. Where is the next point? The next point is at minus, at 105. Again, you can add 15 degrees to 90 degree, then that gives you 105. That means 105 degrees. Degrees. At 105, that is this axis, you have to mark it. How much? It is 0.8. So that means it is, okay, this is somewhere here. Yeah, I think I have made a small mistake. Sorry, this is the one. I think this is wrong. Okay, I think at 105 is 0.8. This is 1 actually, 1 unit. Okay, so this is 1 and this is, you can see the symmetry, there is a nice symmetry, you can get it. Then at 120, this is this angle. At this angle, it is 0.25. Okay, that is here. Then again at 135 we will go. So that is this angle. So the 135. This is 120, and this is 135. Okay, this will be at 0.5. So 0.5 is where? So this is 0.4, and this will be somewhere here. Okay, and then what else? We have 1.5. Okay, 1.5 means this is 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 1, 1.2, just 0.5. That means it is somewhere here. Okay, and then the other one is 1.8. So this is essentially this circle. So somewhere here you have to mark it. 1.8 is somewhere here. Okay, so these are the point that you will get it. You start from 0 degree, and then you can go up to 180 degrees. So these are the point that you get it. Then later on, what you have to do, you have to join it. So once you join it, you will get a nice thing. And I also told you that one point, it is not that z-axis, it can also be the other side. Okay, there is no specificity that only you have to take the right hand side, but you can always take the left hand side also. So when you try to take the left hand side, similar type of thing, then you will get a nice load. So you can see that the point started here, and then it is coming here, and then it is going to 0. Okay, and up to where? So when the angle, when the the angle with the z-axis, positive z-axis is 54.7, the function becomes 0. This is essentially 60 degree, right? That means the axis, this is somewhere, this particular axis is somewhere where the total wave function actually becomes 0. Then at 60, again it will increase the value of 60 minus 0.25. It increases, and then at 75 degrees centigrade, it basically further increases. And then please remember, these values are negative, but still we are only considering the magnitude and just marking the value. So we did that. Okay, and then when it becomes 90, it is maximum. Okay, negatively it is maximum. Then when it is at 105, it is again decreased, and when it is 120, it is again decreased. Okay, it is here at 120, it is again decreased, and then at a value of 125.3, actually like 54.7 degree, 125.3 is the another angle at which the wave function becomes 0, and later on again it increases positively. So the positive value, it will increase from the 135 degree, that is this axis. So at this axis we have pointed at 0.5, and the next one is 1.25. Okay, the next one is 1.8 almost, and this is 2, right? So essentially you will get this nice thing. You try to basically join all the points after marking everything, and then you will get a nice shape what you have seen, what you have learned in your early classes. So you will get two lobes of this type, and then later on the other two lobes on the right hand side of the positive axis, z axis, and the left hand side of the z axis. You will get, you know, a nice lobes. And now after drawing all these things, then you will have to basically mark the sign. That is very important. The last class also I have said that the marking the wave function sign is very much important. So the positive lobe, so when theta is varying from 0 to 90, in the case of spherical harmonics of a p orbital, then it is positive. Then when you are going beyond 90 degree, then it becomes negative. So therefore we have put the positive sign on the upper sphere, and the lower sphere we have put the negative sign. Similarly here, you can see here from when theta is varying from 0 to 54, it is positive, right? It is essentially positive, and that positive sign, I mean, everywhere within this region, the function will be positive. Okay, so then at 60 is somewhere here. Okay, this is 75, this is 60. At 60, this value, you know, this lobe, these lobes, what are small lobes, what you get, actually they possess the negative sign. Therefore that sign has to be kept it. So this is also positive according to our table. This is negative, and this is also a negative sign. Okay, so after drawing, after point, first is the marking the point, then join that with a smooth hand. So don't put a sharp edges everywhere, anywhere. Just draw the smooth curve kind of thing, and then finally you just mark the sign. That is very important. Wave function will have a polarity, so the sign of the wave function is very much important, and you have to show them. And finally you mark it. This is nothing but a 3dz square. Okay, so the other d orbitals, plotting the other d orbitals, it takes a little more time manually. So because the spherical harmonics of the other orbital, like we know that the 3dz square is fairly easy, we can do it, but the other harmonics, dxy, dxz, yz, then x square minus y square, so all these things basically they take little more time to plot it manually. So rather we can use a lot of softwares are available. You can, Wolfram is one software, you can visualize all these orbitals. So people have used several mathematical software, okay, and freely available software also available. You can just download it, and the only thing is just you plug in the function, and then you give the values, how these values, variables, what are the variables and how they are changing, and then automatically these software will plot the graph. Okay, you need not to really do manually, but it is a good exercise that one can really experience how these are really arrived at a particular shape, right? So these orbitals are something that you have already learned. So I don't want to discuss further. So we will proceed further. So we will not discuss the other orbital, how to plot and all. But then they are plot in this fashion. So please remember that. So when you try to plot the other spherical harmonics, you get those this particular type of thing. Okay, and the last one which I just wanted to share with you is the n is equal to 4. When n is equal to 4, L can be 0, L can be 0, L can be 2, L can be 1, L can be 2, and L can be 3. Okay, when L is equal to 0, that is like 4s will get it. M will be obviously 0. And when M is equal to, when L is equal to 1, then we will get the 4p orbitals. When L is equal to 2, we will get 4d orbitals. When L is equal to 3, then we will get 4f orbitals. So 4f orbitals are shown on in this particular slide. So there are 7 4f orbitals are there. So which are broadly classified into 2 categories. One is the cubic set. So the cubic set wave functions, cubic set atomic orbitals, if you look at, they're actually pointing along the axis. They're actually pointing along the axis, whereas the other one, they don't point really along the axis, but then in between the axis, their lobes are there. So there are 2 sets. So these upper lobe, upper 3, like that is like fz cube, fx cube, and y cubes. These are the cubic set, and these cubic sets will have the lobes along the axes. Okay, the other set is not along the axes; they are in between the axes. Okay, there are 4 of such kind. Fxyz is one kind, and Fy, x square minus z square, Fx, z square minus y square, Fz, x square minus y square. These are the 7 4f atomic orbitals. These are plotted by a mathematical software. Okay, by of course the spherical harmonics. You can take it and you give, instead of manually plotting all those things, you just give these values to software. The software will do everything. So some of the freely available softwares you can try out if you are really interested how these things are coming up. Now, this is a summary of all the density plots. Okay, you can see all the density plots are summarized here. This is very nice. How the total density actually changing. Okay, in the space that is depicted here in this each diagram. So starting from 2s to 3s, and then 2p. Okay, 2p orbitals. Okay, 2p orbitals, and also 3p orbitals, and 3d orbitals. Right, these are the 3d orbitals, and then 4d orbitals. So everything is basically plotted here. So how to understand these things? Well, there is a scale bar. You can just look at this scale bar first to understand the wave functions, how they are varying with the space. So wherever you see, you can see here. So bright, there is a plus. There is a plus sign over here at white space, and there is a negative sign here along the dark space. I mean the black color. So that means, so the wherever in the density plot, if you see the white one, then that means the wave function is very, very high. And wherever you see a dark region in the density plot, that indicates the wave function totally becomes 0. Okay, and more in between, if it is there, then you will see either this yellow color or the orange color. You will see if the wave function is moderate, it is not 0, and it is not very high, then in between these 2 colors it will show. Okay,